appropriate, including but not limited to obscene or offensive posters or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. The board executive committee and or assigned committee will review the offenses and or behavior and ban the offender for an amount of time determined by the committees. If in-person outbursts or attacks continues, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authority shall be sought. The meeting will be conducted as follows. Everyone besides the speaker presenter will remain silent throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, the chair will require the committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by raising their hand when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed as at the next meeting, provided there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following questions, discussion, and public comments, the committee will begin the discussion after the presentation agenda item and will, if applicable, conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. We're gonna move on with attendance. Erickson is present. Sandra Erickson. Present. Edgar Ramos.
Present.
Barbara Strong.
Present.
Mary Ann Parapeliz. Kimali Cordy. Pavadi Salmani. If you take a moment to review the minutes from November 2023. We have skipped several meetings due to weather conditions, lack of, mostly weather.
I've read the I'll second the motion to approve.
Thank you. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Okay, so let's go around and introduce ourselves and then I'm in the Sensio.
Sandra Erickson, Vice Chair. Barbara Stronzo.
Serial Guerrero from Guerreros Against Graffiti.
AJ resident. Fernando Ortiz, BBC.
Jorge Madruga with Matt Equities.
Bill Bollinger, Matt Equities.
Lauren George Cousins, Northland Bloom, representing Maddox. Alexandra Lupina, Opting Architects with Maddox.
Edgar Ramos, member.
Carla Cabrera Carrera, District Manager.
The Daily Planet.
Thank you everyone for attending. And I guess let's begin the new business. The tier construction is underway, so I guess you guys are.
Can we just sit here, or is there a clicker that we can use? Would you rather us stand in the front?
No, yeah, someone,
have to get-
I think
okay.
someone has to,
Okay. Can we just advance the slide to the area?
No.
Maybe we won't use that.
okay.
Pardon me? Maybe we don't need it at all. I could just project, but unless you're recording. Okay, hi, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to see this application this evening. We actually, okay. So my name's Lauren George again, and I'm with Hudson Bloom. We represent Mad Equities, the property owner at the Dollar Savings Bank, which is right across the street. So that's nice because you can see it as you exit into the building and envision how wonderful it's going to be.
Microphone, please.
Okay. Yes, sir.
6 feet wide.
Okay, right. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Too much rock and roll? Okay, got it. So, the proposal this evening before you is a follow-up from the proposal that we made. I believe it is working or not?
No.
You have it all. There you go. Okay. Woo.
Now it's what.
So, it's a follow-up from the proposal we made in 2021 via Zoom during the depth of the pandemic. And I believe it was my first time being Zoom on. That was fun. That might be why you have that intensive, dang it. I know why not. But no, we were here tonight. We appreciate, your time, and we're here back tonight because this was approved. The banking hall, which is the main bottom floor of this very iconic individual landmark right across the street from us on Grand Concourse, one of the very few individual and interior landmarks here in this part of the Bronx. So we're happy. We're very celebratory that it has been renovated. Millions of dollars have been poured into it by the team of owners, including Mad Equities and others. And it's going to be a fine fair supermarket on the ground floor. And they're also renovating the tower and searching for a fabulous tenant right now to renovate and revitalize this very important floor. So right now, what we're here tonight to talk about is a very simple application to expand the signage that was approved during that initial application, and also to restore the clock to its previous grandeur. So that's super exciting. But because Landmarks has very particular rules about what they need to do at top level and what they can do by the commissioners, we're simply trying to replace the back of that clock that you see there in white with plastic rather than with like leaded glass, which was originally. And so that requires the commissioner. But essentially what the team is doing is restoring the clock completely back to its original appearance, just with different materials. So that's what we're here to discuss. And just taking you through some historic photos. Again, this store and this whole half of the block has been vacant for, I think, almost 10 years now. You guys will probably know better than I the exact number of years. It's been a really long time when the scaffolding has been up and there have been incidents of vandalism and loitering and like encampments under the scaffolding. And we're really excited that that's all going to be going away. And we're hoping to have a grand opening with the grocery store this spring sometime. And of course, you'll be invited to that event. It's a big event. But this building was originally constructed in 2 stages. So it was an individual landmark designed by Adolf Mueller. And facade is a very special polished granite linear facade in the Art Deco classic style. It's a 10-story office tower with a clock tower that we're here to talk about. That was completed in 1952. I believe there's actually 3 phases. She'll help me explain it a little better. But it was the late 30s, the 40s, and then finally the tower was completed in 1952. And the banking hall, which we presented to you before, has already been fully restored and retrofitted, right? It's very distinctive adaptive reuse. It used to be a bank with a vault, and now it's a grocery store with, another retail use. It's going to be in the basement. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about the exterior. So you see this photo, the first photo. Some of the signage is visible here. But this photo on the left shows you a little better the neon signage that was there. Here and also here, there were neon medallions that were like dollar signs, we call it, silver dollars. We're looking to try to restore the similar signage in LED modern versions of neon, essentially. So on the left side here, you can see the neon that used to exist, and then when it was Immigrant Savings Bank, which is the last use that it was occupied there before Apple Savings Bank, they also had a similar brown sign. So this picture on the left gives you a better sense of the neon signage and the way that it looked, and we're looking to try to replicate that. There was also a sign on the lower south facing facade, which was also neon, and the south facing part of the tower up above here. So essentially, we're looking to recreate in a different, with different wordage in a generic fashion. It's going to be for a signage master plan. So Landmarks is actually going to be considering a signage master plan with the ramifications, sizing, the lighting, the projection, zoning, all of that is what they're looking at, and we're seeking your approval to allow for signage for the new building. We don't know what the commercial use is going to be. It might be a dorm, it might be a large medical complex, it might be lots of other things. But we're, there are active conversations right now with real commercial tenants, but right now the building is being, like I said, renovated to the full extent. I will pass it over to my colleague Alexandra to tell you the scope of work. Hello, good evening. Alexandra Hawkins and myself earlier. So quick overview from what Lauren said. The building is literally right across the street. We'll see the big iconic tower, landmark building, and the bottom portion of the building will be we'll have the supermarket, which will be a time fair, and then the tower will have a separate tenant, as Lauren explained. There's not a specific tenant, but there will be one in the future. The whole point of tonight is we want to go over the tower and then sign it, and the clock, in the tower and the signage that we want to put back to the building. The tower has 4 faces, and each face will have a clock, and it had white lead glass and bronze metal framing, and we're trying to replace that with modern materials to look exactly the same as it did before, but new materials to make it more durable. And the signage is really more of a master plan signage that we're trying to go for. We'll show some images of examples for the supermarket and then for the future tenant at the tower. So I'll start with the clock. Historically, the top of the tower had the 4 clocks. Each was made of bronze frame and dials and the white lead glass panels. Since then, all the frames have been damaged or mostly damaged. And the dials most of them are still okay, but need to be repaired. And the glass has been broken in many parts. So it's since been taken down for restoration and fabrication of what could be the new clock. Essentially, what we're trying to propose and the proposed entails is an aluminum sheet metal frame to replace the bronze and then white polycarbonate. So these 2 materials are going to be more durable, lightweight, they're going to be more sustainable. White lead glass you can no longer find it, and it's also not environmentally friendly. So we're trying to replace that with a material that looks the same, but it's just better all around. So you can see the elevation, so it literally looks the same. It will look the same as it did before. It's just modern materials. You can see here on the top corner to the right, that was part of the frame that was left from one of the clocks. So it was very heavily damaged. It needs to be restored fully. Okay. So I mean, yeah, the clock is very simple. It's just a replacement materials. We have to go through LPC to make sure that they can prove the replacement of the material itself, but the overall appearance will look the same as it did before. Far better because it's been not there for a long time. Will look brand new. And for the signage, yeah. So our we're proposing, you can see here on the left, the historic photo. It's just a little slow. That one. Slide back. Yeah. Sorry, just some technical difficulty. Oh, there it goes. These are technical. So on the left, you can see the historic photo, Lauren went over it a little bit. We have what they call the Lady Liberty head motifs on the bottom portion where the entrances, which are the big circular, pieces. And then you have on the side of the tower, there used to be a dollar savings bank. And it was done in two phases. In the 1930s, they had a dollar savings bank sign at the bottom of the tower, of the banking hall, and then in the 1940s, it was relocated to the top of the tower. And both of these signage were just neon signage with illuminating signage. It did not have anything else. What we're proposing, as you can see from some of the details here, is essentially very similar. It's LED neon signage with a sheet, blue stainless steel sheet return around it for to protect the illumination. So it's gonna be, the look is gonna be the same, the lettering is gonna replicate the old dollar savings bank lettering style. So it will look very similar to what it did before. Some of these, yeah, so you can see the bottom on the south facade here. This was the 1930s, and then the top was the 1940s, and we're proposing to have both locations for signage. The bottom one will be for the supermarket, and then the top one, right now in the image, says Fine Fair, but the goal would be for the tower tenant. So this is just really for a presentation that will not, the one at the top will not be.
I couldn't hear. Could you repeat who's gonna change to?
We don't know yet. It'll be for the tower tenant.
Tower tenants.
The one at the top.
So rather than Fine Fair, what LPC will be approving will actually say signage, it'll just be generic, and then, once the tenant is determined, it'll be the font and the color of what's approved, but it'll say whatever that,
And the plan is the same. We're gonna be using open face lit LED neon channel letters with a stainless steel return. And on the should mention on the round lady head motifs at the bottom, the entrances of what used to be the banking hall, when that was removed, there was a lot of holes left for the signage itself. It's still there. Our plan would be to use as many of those as possible with the new signage to not interrupt the facade as the least possible. And then on the east side, so the top of the tower at the back that we have the view from Borden, that used to be Dollar Savings Bank with the same type of signage with the neon signage, but it then changed to the entrance savings bank, which is more of a billboard. That has been since removed for the local law 11 work that has been done on the building. And the goal would be to bring back that letter channel signage for the tower. So right now it says Fine Fair, but again, this is more for representation and not for what would it actually be. So it'll all depend on the intent for the tower. See that? And then just some renderings. So this will be for the clock. Just a quick recap, will be aluminum sheet metal frame. We're gonna be reusing some of the dials that are still okay to use, and it will have a white polycarbonate panel instead of white lead glass. And for the signage, as you can see, this one is more representative. It's still generic because we don't know the tower tenant. More images for your reference.
okay, that's good. And I wanted to note that it's gonna be operating. The clock will actually work. So you'll get to know what time it is from any direction, north, south, east, west. So thank you so much for your time, everybody. And
what we're asking for from the board is a recommendation of approval or any comment to go into landmark. And we're looking to have that hearing at landmark, as soon as possible, April 9th, I believe.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? No?
Yeah, we do have some.
Maybe.
Yeah, you can.
Just because it feels so formal.
Better get real comfortable.
Uh-oh. Thank you.
Okay, I guess my first question is, are we assuming that one tenant for the tower?
We're trying to do one tenant, so according to Drew Economic, is that, you know, it's, yes, we're assuming, trying to find one tenant for the tower, and we're trying to see if we could be medical. That's the hope, you know, but we're not sure yet.
How many square feet?
It's about 60,000 square feet.
10 floors of even.
Yeah, 5,000 square foot floor plates plus there's like some that's in.
So if you didn't get, I know that's a lot of square footage, right? For one tenant per se. So if you had several tenants, how would that signage be placed, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if it's even necessary to have that signage, right? On, especially on the south side of looking down the Grand Concourse. And like, I mean, it's the tower itself as a clock, a working clock.
Yeah.
Which is a great feature to have back to the community. Seems sufficient to have without the signage. I understand that as a complex, if it was one big complex, it makes sense.
The signage master plan, I guess the answer is yes, of course. It may be broken up into like 3 or 4 tenants. I think that.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have space to put more than one. I mean,
Right.
the reality is we're trying to bring, for example, Montefiore back. That's it's a selling point, right? We could tell Montefiore, you could put your signage up on top as having the name of the building. So, you know, we will still have, if somebody rents half of the building, they can put their name on there. But if we have 3 tenants, we're not gonna put 3 names up there, right? Because only one
That
really.
also brings another question, right? Like Monty has a very specific font and logo and everything. Would they want to change and adapt to this signage, right?
We
I
have to
mean,
go
that's-
through landmarks and approve that. They
Right,
have to
so-
approve that.
These are all questions that
Sure.
you as the developer would need to have answered and presented to the landmark commission, right? So I get that's one of my questions. I think it's a beautiful restoration. I noticed on the way in also that where the Fine Fair logo is actually like there's a figure there, right? Of a woman, like an actual point
On the circular,
on
yeah.
the circular. So are we, and I noticed on the connections, you're putting each letter individually into the wall, or are you mounting into a particular and then mounting to the wall?
Current signage, or the one that we're proposing.
They want the Fine Fair logo.
So it's my understanding that, it'll like, you know, how it's like fine and fair, so each word would be one, and it would have one system for each word.
So we plan to use the same holes that are there, and you'll still see that same structure there. We're not touching or making any holes to it. We're using the same original attachments to put the sign back.
Okay,
And on the signage on the top, again, it's more of a marketing tool, you know, do we need the sign? To be honest, no. Okay, but if I can tell Montefiore or some other entity that they can have the signage is a really marketing tool for the building to, you know, for them to be known, right? If
Yeah,
multiple tenants, I do understand you know, we're not putting multiple signs, but if we have one major tenant, we would like to have.
So George, let me ask you, so the sign will be the same? It's not gonna change the size if you have.
No, of course.
So what
They'll have to.
Yeah, and honestly, landmarks would have to approve the font. So the truth is that you may be correct that Monty may not want to have something that isn't their branded font, because I think the way I've seen it in other places, like if you think about the Chipotle that's in a landmark building,
Right,
it doesn't have like some big crazy sign. It has like an understated, like white and blending in type of sign.
Right.
So who knows, like the truth is the landmark is gonna have a lot of opinions and feelings about this. And we're going to have to adjust, I think, in an iterative way to what they say. Like, you know, it's not 100% baked because we don't know the tenant yet.
right.
So that's why
No,
the
I
master plan.
understand. It's
and not-
just thoughts that.
Yeah,
I
no,
had,
it's good,
and,
good
Yeah, for
questions.
This is the good, to have the ability, and then landmark is really gonna tell us what to do.
And also, like, if you have several tenants, then you may choose not to put the sign up at the end of the day, even though you have the.
Right, and did landmarks, did you have discussion with landmarks about signage above the entry of the tower? Was that a consideration at all?
Well, there's already signage. Do you want to speak to what signage is already approved for the store?
Yeah, just for the supermarket right now, we just have some banners that will be on the facade. And to either side of the entrance and then right above the entrance door, and it'll just say fine fare. That's all that's been approved by landmarks right now.
Okay, but no signage on the tower side,
No,
only
that's okay.
on the long building. On the
Yeah, just on
the
the
side, right?
So we did that on the tower up to January of this year. And, you know, we acquired the tower, and that's how we're back to trying to figure out the tower and a tenant for the tower. We only, were the owners of the commercial condo on the base of the building, but we, since January, acquired the tower and are trying to bring it back, trying to find a tenant for it.
Any other questions?
What the grocery store, what's the status there?
Pretty much built out already. You know, we've passed our construction inspection, we've passed our fire alarm, plumbing, gas, all the utilities are in. We should be talking about PCO there, before the end of the month. And opening sometime by the end of April, sometime in May. That's kind of the estimate, but we'll definitely give everybody notice for that.
This project has been a long time coming. The building has been vacant for more than a few years, and I'm wondering, once you get your tenant, how long will the renovations in the tower take?
So we only own the building for about 4 years, I believe, you know, from my side on the retail side, and now from January, the tower. It took a long time to find a tenant first and do the right renovations, and then we had COVID in the middle, so. We had a lot of different things that happened. But if we found a tenant, it's probably a 6 to 8 months built out of that space. Depends who the tenant is, but it's mainly an office user. It's a pretty simple built out for us. You know, from background, we do a lot of affordable housing, a lot of construction, so we're very familiar with doing this type of work. And we'll be able to do it very quickly. Yes.
Any other questions from the board?
Yes,
Members?
regarding the signage, is it on the table to not put like maybe Grand Concourse Tower on the outside and on the inside, put the signs of the tenants, because that's happening over at Water Sports. It's Tower 1 and Tower 2. It identifies where you have to go if it is medical. You know that Montefiоре's in that building on what floor, if in fact you have to split it instead of putting Montefiore on the outside.
That's a standard way of doing an office building. We have a directory in the interior, and that's already this set wall for that directory in the lobby of this building. So we would break that back and have a directory there, and it would show if it's 1 or 2 or 3 tenants. That'll show that who it is. Yes.
But instead of putting like someone's name and brand to market, it's the Grand Concourse, it's a
Oh.
landmark.
Yeah,
You
just
can
name
name
it.
it.
Naming the building,
Branding
naming the
Grand
building.
Concourse.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea, for sure.
What would you want to name?
Yeah,
Let's have a
that's
charrette right now.
it. He opened his first account there, so, you know, here we go.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
I listen.
May I have the floor? Thank you so much. I am the resident of the Bronx for 70 years. So I've been here probably twice as much as everybody in this room. So we all heard of Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium was a house built, roof built, and it never got its name changed. Shea Stadium is now changed. The Flatiron Building was originally built by some company that no longer, nobody even knows what company originally built. The Pan Am Building is now being owned by Snoopy and his gang. They sell insurance. Got the name. Goes to show you. The Chrysler Building is built by Chrysler Corporation. Stu maintains that name. So therefore, Marinos and the community being in conjunction with the idea of Yankee Stadium staying Yankee Stadium, would love to have the building be named after the original founder who proposed the building and built it. It should remain the Dollar Savings Bank. Should be up on top of that building. So we're tired of the woke generation taking away things from the past. And we want to go to the future with open arms. I am very, very excited. I had heard rumors that people were gonna be, penthouses were gonna be built in that place. I drive with people, you know, they're not really top of what's going on. It's fantastic to hear that Fine Fair is gonna be in there on the bottom. And they're gonna have their name not too high up, which is beautiful. But to see Montefiore's name up on top of that building would not sit well with a lot of people in this community. Okay. We would love to see it originally there, like she suggested, the Grand Concourse. The Grand Concourse has its own boulevard. That building should stay or be Christian, the Dollar Savings Bank. That's my opinion. But I thank you for coming here and spending all this money and 4 years waiting for COVID to re-renovate that building. And it's a blessing because that will save the Fordham Road, that will push back the anti-society people the same way Monroe College saved Jerome Avenue and Fordham Road, and people argue with me, and I say no. When Monroe College opened up there, they anchored the Bronx again. We're a fighting force to keep the riffraff out of our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for Hi, you said the landmarks meeting would be April 9th.
We hope so.
Okay, and then is this just a clock or is there like a big banner tower, like a bell behind it? Or
There's no best.
okay, and then I believe the older generations left their historic structures to rot and collapse. The new generations are trying to move in. I find it appropriate. You're simply putting a new sign for what's there. A tenant's not going to move in and spend all that money to restore it if their name's not all over the side of the building. Similar to Empire State Building, the Chipotle, every store under there has a landmarks approved sign. They will jump on that. Just the fact that they put their name right on top of Fordham, right on top of the concourse for everybody to see. I think it's appropriate. Also, the master plan, does that include your windows or is that all up to grade?
This is just, this application, we're not applying to change the window. Thank goodness most of them are good.
They are.
So yeah, they're not being changed or.
And you said interior and exterior landmarks, so
The only part that's interior is just the baking wall,
just the big.
the like granite
The
part.
murals.
That's from 33.
Oh.
So actually, I had a phase one. Please forgive me. It was originally 33, and then 38, and then 52 when we finished that.
Okay, the murals are
The murals
protected.
are staying, yeah,
Okay, yes.
and they're
okay.
preserved, even though there are some people find them
They are
racist.
very offensive. Yes.
They're
But
staying
I
with
find it
our.
appropriate. I think there shouldn't be buildings been there left to rot. Put some lights on it, put some signs up. People know that it's open. You have Target there, you have a Chick-fil-A down the corner now. The neighborhood's changed for a reason. It's time to bring it back to life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments on your side?
You guys have any ideas for attendance? Happy to hear.
Honestly, yeah.
Some
That's-
idea.
Yeah, some ideas? Okay,
Please.
great, please.
What about tech?
Yeah, would love to.
This
Yeah.
Monty is over at Fordham Plaza.
Yes, yeah.
Why-
I mean, I just want to, I mentioned Monty not because I have them as a tenant or, you know, they were right next door and they left the neighborhood. So we were trying to bring them back, but it's not, they're not, you know, there's no way that we have something signed from them right now that says they're coming, so let's be honest.
Tech wise, I would suggest Google. They bought up Chelsea Market. They bought up a whole bunch of land in Manhattan, bring them up here.
Yeah.
Those jobs, and we're in a school now where kids need those jobs.
Look,
What about the idea of a college?
Yeah. Judy, love to have you in there, yeah. Or,
Judy, you got me.
yeah, exactly. Look at the office space up there. Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess you need from us, can you, because.
So my understanding is that landmarks want, your process is really our question. So if your committee can write a letter, great, you write a recommendation to your full board and then you can endorse it, whatever your process is. As long as that gets to LPC by like, you know, as soon as your full board is done, a couple days later, that would be great. So I think whatever that Monday is. Sorry, the Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, like, why don't we say, if we could, by April 5th, that would be an ideal deadline. to Receive something.
Their meeting's on the 26th.
This is your board meeting at the end of the month.
Mhm.
26th,
Right.
yeah.
So soon after that is
Mhm.
possible.
I have one question. Would it be anything on the roof like the towers anymore, antennas or anything, or yes, you know? Whatever the
Yeah,
tenant
the main
needs,
antenna that's there will still be there. We're not.
that's one served.
There's a flag on that pole up there. We put a pride flag on that.
He wants a prize.
Yeah, I wanted everywhere to fly. Those are historic structures that have never had them before.
Alright, we're gonna move on.
Flagpole is gone. That's
Oh,
the
flagpole's
historic photo,
gone.
right?
I'm sorry,
It's
Lauren,
your
what
photo.
did you, what the letter needs to say? Do you want to give us a brief out,
You know, the application really before LPC is it appropriate to replace the stock material with modern material? We feel yes, like glass is heavy, glass is dangerous, if it falls in the road and breaks someone's head, that would be bad. Plastic polycarbonate is, you know, much more efficient and modern for lots of reasons, just better. And then on the signage, that's kind of more, you guys have more to decide about that, and it's your opinion, but we feel that modern signage that replaces what was historically there is appropriate. So what you're saying to landmarks is, you know, as a community, this is historically appropriate or not. That's basically it. Yes, and of course, we can help you construct. As needed.
So we will have a motion to approve signage
No.
as presented,
it's not.
and the materials of.
No, well, we shared the,
There, where else?
yeah, that's. Normally this would get staff level approval and it wouldn't go to party at all, but because of the material, we have that as a and the change.
This is the date.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is what company?
Yeah.
Dark, because it's not.
Oh, the clock is not only the sign.
Oh, the project's not. Did he use to be there?
They have a hotel, yeah, the radio stuff.
That's like obviously a lot more different.
Hmm?
to that, right? It's made out of machine part.
We deal with another agency, gotta do it.
Okay, I would like to move that
Time
to
that we agree with.
have a motion for the new materials being used to update and renovate tower. And also to include the proposed new signage that will be put up. Do we have a second? I'll second.
I just. I had a quick question.
we should second it first
Second
and
it
then the
first.
questions. I'll second it.
Second.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Any discussion?
Yeah, well, that's the question, because in the verbiage, it says updating the tower. We're not updating the tower, we're updating the clock on the tower. Because the new building materials and all of that is not for the tower, it's not for the building. It's simply only for the update of the clock. So I think that should say that.
I
Nah.
accept it. Correction.
Update the 4 o'clock session.
Sign.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Made by Barbara Strasser to approve the new modern materials. One, part two is approve the usage of the signage. That's what I don't.
Of the proposed sign.
Proposed.
New signage for the.
New signage.
Yes, sir.
Just on the signage part, should we state that we're approving antiquated signage, not modern signage? In the, like that we approve them putting, time,
Classic sign from the past.
well,
Right, I
well,
agree.
because what they're basically saying is it's gonna be time appropriate with when the building was up, right? They don't want modern sign, they don't want it to be, like I said, if Montefiore took it over, it wouldn't be the Montefiore font. They would use stuff, they would make it look time appropriate with when the building was built. Did I get that correct, George?
Clarify that.
So the proposal is to have uniform signage that would replicate the sort of historic Art Deco style font. And actually, the fine. Yes, it's to replicate the signage that
Even at
style
the
is
top
there.
too, at the top.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It won't be exactly the same as like the historic photos, but the goal would be to replicate that font. Style.
And your drawings represent that. The way you're proposing in your drawings represent that style.
Yeah.
So, gonna go for a poll, Erica since you both.
Wait,
yes?
can you restate the motion? Just for the
Sure.
Okay, all right.
loudly, please.
So,
Outside voice.
the motion on the floor is to, the board supports the use of the new materials to rehab the 4 clocks on the tower at Dollar Immigrant Savings Bank. And secondly, the board approves the proposed signage that will replicate the original signage at the Dollar Store.
Or the style of.
Of the style.
Not to replicate.
Right.
Time appropriate, yes.
So I'm gonna go propose, gonna vote yes. Sandra Erickson,
Sandra Erickson, votes yes.
Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos votes yes.
Barbara Stranson.
Barbara strongly votes yes.
I'm not sure they've, Mary Ann Parafeliz is not here yet. Still. Kimali Corey.
Kamali Cody votes yes.
Okay. And Mamadou Sawuni. Somebody vote yes. Great, thank you, so we'll have
Thank you.
part of
Thank you.
the language.
Mhm. I'll be waiting for the minutes.
I'll struggle with.
So, but we look, thank you again for coming.
Mhm.
We'll invite you to the grand opening.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
We're hoping to have a band.
Right.
Thank you.
I'll be there. I'm sure.
Okay, we're gonna go back to, business A, which is the tier construction.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Sorry I was a little bit late, went to the wrong location. I'm just going here to provide an update on our project on 3118 Webster Avenue. We started construction a couple weeks ago, it's gonna continue the rest of the year. To next year, we're building apartments, 8-story structure,
How many units?
108.
108?
Well, 109. Just want to continue to keep the lines of communication open with the board. Previously, my colleague Matt Gross has been coming to the meetings here at the community board, but his wife had a baby, so was called in kids, collecting.
I'm sorry, and your name is?
Alejandro Joaquin. I'm pinching from that thing. Just in that vein, keeping my taken open, we had talked about sponsoring Ocean 30 site training, site safety training class. Happy to begin to collect CVs from folks via the community board. We're sponsoring up to 25 people to attend these classes. Figure out do that. Is a state safety certification process. We'll continue to come here to provide new updates as the church progresses. Happy to hear it's been long since I came personally.
So you're doing foundation,
Yeah, we're just doing site work right now.
there's a lot of excavation.
There's a lot of excavation.
So yes, the sign of.
Can you tell us the breakdown of the size of the apartments and the same deal that?
Let's see if I have it here. It's the cheat sheet. I don't. I will get back to you.
When will it be finished?
End of 2025.
And it,
It's the building above 204 and.
Just about 2 4.
Right.
and how is it?
We have a problem there. I live in that area. Your construction company, not you guys, the guy you hired to do the work behind the fence. They put the fence so close to the front curb. People are sliding into the street, can't balance, so old ladies can't go by. And I noticed that. You got, you like this, you got construction here, then you're sticking out here, and then you're back here again. This section here is pushing people right here into the street, but it's a cut curve for trucks. And I seen a little old lady throwing it, and another big guy in house. Right into that. Gotta push that thing back. Yeah. Got my numbers.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. The program,
I know what you guys.
it's affordable housing, what
It is.
program is it?
Ella.
It's Ella and supportive house. The supportive house.
There's a 30% set aside under the Ella. That is AMI 40 up to. And then just to clarify one point, we are regarding the developers or builders collaborative, but we are associated with the construction company. So going directly to the source to.
Thank you.
And you also manage your own.
Some of them we do. A lot we just hire.
And did you get a tax evasion here? You got it.
We did, I don't have this business.
You said 30% would be supportive and then the rest.
30% would be performance.
And that's supportive. The office or
40.
any part. I know, but that's in so many buildings going up. Yeah. That used to be a part.
I wish you had
It
it.
was.
That would have been, we would have been top dog in over Strands and everybody else.
Oh, yeah, this is the corner of 204 to Webster, you're parking on the two private houses. I would say if you guys somewhat, LGBTQ or veteran housing, that whole corner is so much supported housing compared to other community boards, everything on setting gets dropped on that specific corner. But, we recently put up the green there's been a lot of graffiti. I would say you guys can put some art on that. That's just a prime area, especially Bronx Park right there, to get tagged. Parking's overrated. Parking is a privilege, not a right. Housing is a right. I think there should be more apartments instead of parking. You can put your car somewhere else. It's a private problem. People need places to live. There's a housing crisis going on in the city. I just wish that there was more apartments for people from the neighborhood. And I think community preference went down from 50 to like 20 or 15. Is that you guys as well?
I don't,
Yeah.
if I can just say something, I think that was, that
The lawsuit.
the courts, I
Yeah.
don't think they're allowed to set aside anymore.
No, but what portion of this would be set aside? 15, 20%?
Just what he's saying, 30% for formerly.
Oh, for community preference, and they're gonna be housing connected,
Yeah.
50%, and it went down from a loss from 13 or 20. It was in one of those recent board emails,
Yes.
and it went down again to 15.
You can get back to you on
But yeah, just so that the community that's actually here now doesn't get forced out with these apartments, that we get some of them. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that out.
Yeah, it was, I believe it was. in Ms.
It's in one of the announcements that Eric will go into, yes.
15.
Dropped down to 50.
It's 15, you brought that.
So 108 apartments, 15% of the neighborhoods. Anybody do math really quick?
Okay, but this, okay, so let's, just to be clear, when you're talking about AJ, doesn't come into effect until 2029.
When is the building go live?
25,
25, so
Mhm.
50% will be for the neighborhood?
yes.
Yes.
That's right.
So the current stipulations that HPP has will be in effect for if they go to housing.
Mhm.
But what AJ is referring to that there was a big battle in the courts, right? About the community set aside from 50% that was given to community board, to the preference to the community board. After April 30, 2029, that will be 15%.
So 15%, from future developments, that's why.
If
That wasn't retroactively done for anything online, but now 15 instead of 50. Same like 421.
When they hit the market at
expired.
HTC Housing Connect marketing, like.
Because from my understanding, when the court says something that automatically.
So I think that as of,
Yeah.
if on the day that the court has effective
Yeah.
up to April 30, 2029, 20%, and after that, it could be 50%. From that's what we gather, right?
Yes. It just says effective date, so I guess at some point they'll place a date.
If the board could look into that, because a lot of the apartments should be coming live soon and neighborhood's not getting it, I think that's a robbed opportunity for us, and I think that there should be a little bit more time for that. That's way less apartments for the actual residents of the neighborhood. And open it up to everybody. Not that we should gatekeep the neighborhood, but like people here are getting kicked out of apartments for these new developments that come, there's nothing for them to eventually go to, especially like a 2-bedroom or a family, everything mostly is a 1-bedroom, tiny apartment. I'm just coming out of it, I don't want to move back. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, thank you, AJ.
Robert,
On the lowering of the threshold for the board residents, and I have this participation team, the ratio would be about 20% until we for 9, and then further decrease to 15% thereafter. And I think one of the constraints of residents for this in relation to new buildings, like the other side of us, or the staff things up. And they did site safety concerns and they did black lighting underneath the scaffolding. It's very dark going through there, so it was just maybe a question. On the other side of the lighting, just to keep the residents.
Mhm.
Typically, light all of our sites very well.
But thank you, Alejandro.
No, thank you for having me.
Keep coming back to the board.
Yes.
Was informed.
Mhm.
Well, I'll come back to one of you guys about the resumes. You guys wanna.
Yes.
If you can have, I don't know if you have a flyer or something, that you can share with Carla, and then she sends it on a big newsletter.
Together.
And, is there an age restriction for that? I know some OSHA programs they cater to younger. But,
Not to my knowledge.
All right, moving on. As CV7 year 25 capital and expense budget priorities. There's a link on the agenda. I think that basically we just want everyone to kind of take a look at the responses that we received from the agencies so that we can address them with either the city, with elected officials or with agencies to see if we have the budget.
For the last few years, we have asked for housing in which some of the neighborhood could invest in their apartment. But it would be good to have a good mixture of income levels. And we seem to be getting nowhere with that. Is there any way that we could get our electeds to help us out? Because I think the neighborhood really needs a better balance. I mean, if you go along the strip on Webster Avenue, most of those buildings going up from just below 2 Ford Street up to Gun Hill and all are subsidized housing, and you know, that's fine, but we need a better balance, is what I'm saying.
What was, I'm sorry, Laura, what's presented here, he said 40 to 80% AMI, so it's a little better than just 60. It's 80% is
40 to 80%.
40 to
All right, but
80%.
we're looking for rebuilding people to purchase.
Right.
And I think we don't really have to. We have a few co-ops in the neighborhood, but a lot of this new housing, we need a better mix so that, you know, people coming in will purchase their apartment.
Yeah, we really need to talk to our council persons about that. I know there's some council members who are pushing for that in their districts, maybe not CV7, but to kind of like rally them up and.
What can be done because in other boards, including doing co-ops, 72 and normally sit down pots and about 4 different union boards, but not.
No, I mean, we need affordable investment.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Two things. One is, I thought the borough president announced that program, the one you're talking about. I know it started in Soundview, but they expect it to be all around the Bronx as far as building, you know, having the people invest in the building and actually have property that's owned, not just rented or leased. So I think it's up and coming. It's a started project, and it is in the borough. It's just a matter of it getting to all the different places. And then the other question was, I know when they did when Hochul did the budget release at Bronx Community College, one of the topics we were discussing was the problem with the AMI, right? Because a lot of these buildings, they're using the federal AMI, which basically prices out 90% of the people in the Bronx. They say it's 40% AMI, not letting you know that it's the $90,000 AMI, not the $35,000 AMI that the community legitimately has. Right, which AMI does that project follow?
But I mean, HPD is constantly updating their fact sheets, so they.
Right, but the problem is they're using state numbers, right? Because these are federal programs, not using local numbers. They only built 2 buildings in Vanessa Gibson's area because she fought for them, right? They were considered super low income because all these buildings they're building all the way from Mott Haven all the way up. They all say affordable housing on the project, but it's affordable housing, 40% AMI of a $90,000 number. Meanwhile, the real AMI, as discussed by the borough president's office and the city officials, is anywhere between 19 and 35,000. And that's a big difference.
Do you mean to buy a home?
No, I'm saying as far as when they promote the rentals, when they say, oh, this building's gonna be built, you know, they're building all of the end of the Grand Concourse and 138th Street. And they all have big signs, affordable housing. Right, but it's not theoretically affordable for those that live in those neighborhoods because the AMI that they're using is a threshold, right? It's a 40% AMI or 50% AMI. But they're using the federal number, which is somewhere between, I forget what the number is now. I know it was somewhere between $92,000 and $93,000, right? So the people that live in that neighborhood, their actual AMI is anywhere, you know, like Mott Haven, the area that was down there was between 19 and 21, because there's a lot of people that are on public assistance in the projects and a lot of people on Social Security. So the AMI is very low in that area, but then they're gonna put buildings where someone making $19,000 a year doesn't even make enough in a year to pay the rent for a year.
They can't even apply.
Right.
On Housing Connect, you can't apply.
No, well, they, you know, if it's $2,000 for a studio apartment and I'm only making 19,000, I don't have 24,000 to pay the rent or buy food or pay the light or do anything like that. So that's what I'm saying. Those when they announce those projects as affordable housing, I think they actually should be affordable to those in the neighborhood, not to those that they want to bring in.
AMI numbers don't go by small neighborhoods.
Right.
But we can, for next meeting, I'll get some information together and do a little report.
You have a-
Since I'm in this business, I know how these things works. But the city is doing this, they creating working section for some of these people, so that their income is low. Based on that, the city can factor some of their rent, so they can pay for certain. So that's why nowadays when you have people applying for apartments, you see people making 40, 50,000, they still have 6 or 8. So as compared to before.
Yes, I know.
You have to you unemployment again. So I understand where he's coming from. At the same time, the price is going high everywhere. So you can't just look at one neighborhood and say because of their EMI, you gotta make the price go up. So because everything is getting expensive. So the programs that the city is offering now, anybody who is not able to pay for the rent can apply for these programs and then you can work in and they will factor that and then they will calculate how you pay these rents based on the assistance you get.
Yeah, definitely the ninth discussion on that.
Yeah, that's a good topic. We will bring that up to the next meeting. All right, moving on.
The definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I suggest once again to rewrite or review the request. Add context, articles, metadata, and substance. Otherwise, you're going to just keep getting no funding or contact us directly, giving the impression that the board is doing the bare minimum, just passing along the same budget over and over that they're told no to numerous times. So give them the evidence and documentation to confront and showcase the issues that are just 1 or 2 brief sentences. Thank you.
So the Department of City Planning,
Not really, other than inviting to register for the info sessions that we're doing for the third part of the amendments of the City of Yes. Just a reminder that the third one is the city for housing opportunity. The following info session is on March 27th. You can register in the webpage of the Department of City Planning. You just type in Department of City Planning in Google. you can get in there and register for the online info session. The second one and last one, well, not the second, sorry, the following one and last one would be April 17th. So I just said 2 days, sorry, March 27 and April 17th are the following two info sessions of the housing opportunity text amendment. After that, I'll be going back to you guys in present as I give the other two amendments, but that's in the future.
So is it called City of Yes for Housing? Is that
For housing opportunity.
for housing opportunity?
Okay, great.
Sandra, and it's also in the announcements.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I also see that, there was an announcement here that you had, 7's book daylighting easement acquisition hearing. That's coming up on April 18, 2024 at 5 p.m. at 211 East Waters.
Yes, DEP is presenting that to the community board.
And then
Wait, who's presenting?
Department of Environmental Protection.
Oh, okay.
Yes, DEP.
also that's from the DEP, not from city.
No, it's for DEP. It's just, it was a ULURP, so I just added it on.
Still, is that you learn from the
Yes.
city. Thank you. Moving on, HPD and anyone with HPD? No. EDC.
I have a quick update since so tomorrow, we're not leading this, this is DOT led, but EDC is involved. This is DOT, Parks and EDC. The Harlem River Greenway conversations, right, from like Portland all the way to Randall's. Tomorrow is the first, I think, in-person workshop at Bronx Community College. I will be there. But wanted to flag that those workshops are happening in person.
At the Bronx Community.
Bronx Community.
At what time is that?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, 6 to 8 at Bronx Community College. Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. There will also be a virtual option to at a later
tomorrow's
date.
the day in person.
In person, yeah.
What is the title of the workshop?
So the project is the Harlem River Greenway, and it's being led by DOT in partnership with Parks and EDC.
And you mentioned that it extends from Backcourt.
So the whole Harlem River Greenway will ideally go from Bank Portland all the way to Randall's Island. But tomorrow's section is from Bank Portland to, I don't remember where. They split it up into 3 sections. So tomorrow's for the northern part, so the part that is up in.
Can you just ask how's the RFP going?
I have a.
Oh no, he'll get to that. He'll get to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a whole presentation.
Okay.
Well, I should.
Okay, I'll stand up.
Go for it.
You have the floor.
Thanks, Rich. I had a nice little break. Sort of, not really. Awesome, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So, wanted to come to the community board. Thank you all for inviting us, I'd say us, to talk about Kingsbridge. So, RFP outreach. So, when the RFP was released September 18, to when responses came in, we had an info session where we had almost 200 people attend. We had 168 individuals attend our info session, so that was great. Post releasing the RFP, when we held our general tours for those that were interested, we had 159 entities come out to tour the Kingsbridge Armory. And prior to releasing the RFP during the summer, while we were doing those tours, We had about 90 entities come out and tour. When I say 90, that does not include the over 500 community people that we had come out during the engagement process. During the RFP process, we also had a section on our website where community organizations who were interested in partnering or having space in the potential redevelopment of the Armory could sign up. And we had about 65 community board organizations, community-based organizations. That would be the whole city. We had 64 community-based organizations express interest. And I would say more than half of those were in the neighborhood, and about 80% of those were Bronx based. We had a few Harlemites trying to show interest. We also had a section for emerging developers to sign up as interest in being part of the project. We had about 26 emerging developers who registered. We also have had other initiatives. So anybody here knows or plays Minecraft?
Say that again.
Minecraft. It's like Minecraft.
That's a different generation, way younger.
Different generation. But
Director says.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
video game, yeah.
Yeah, the Department of Education, as of last year, started an annual competition with schools across the city, a Minecraft competition. And this year we have students all over the city using the Kingsbridge Armory as their competition. I don't know. But so they have until later this year in the spring. They'll announce the winner. So I think sometime in May. The finalists will get a tour of the Armory, so that's exciting to see students all over New York City, from I think grades, I forget what the grade level is. I want to say fifth to eighth grade, or it might be eighth graders to seventh graders, I forget. But we have students all over the city, looking and creating ideas for the Kingsbridge Armory, which is exciting. We also had Congressmember Espaillat. Was really insistent when he met with Columbia's new president, and he had the School of Architecture, Planning and Preservation do a studio course called Extreme Scale on the Kingsbridge Armory last semester, and they're hoping now in the spring to do a public kind of exhibition on the proposals or ideas that the students came up with. So that was great again, just continue to have people all over the city talking about the Kingsbridge Armory. And other key outreach that we've done with students, we had, I mentioned university, but we also had Fordham University during their, I forget what their summer program is called, Splash Into, or I don't know, I'm butchering it. They came through to the Kingsbridge Armory. We also had the College of Mount St. Vincent business students come out into the Armory. We also had City College CUNY, who many of you might have saw the wonderful models they created last year around vertical farming potential in the Armory. And we also had students from Cornell. So we had a lot of great, interest in academia using the Kingsbridge Armory as a case study in the studio for some of their courses. So that was great to see. In terms of funding, you are all probably aware that in August, right before we released the RFP, we were able to secure $100 million from the state. Previously, there was over 100 million allocated towards the Kingsbridge Armory from the state in the form of a loan to a potential developer. And so we were able to, we didn't get the 100 and whatever it was originally, but we were able to get 100 million secured as a grant, right? So not a loan that no one has to pay back, which is significant. And then we were able to secure 100 million commitment from the city, from Mayor Adams. So most of you were at that ceremony in August. We also do have 12 million that was allocated by Councilmember Birina Sanchez and Speaker Adams for the Kingsbridge Armory. So we have about 212 million in potential funding for redevelopment. And one point I do want to make is we had applied for some federal funding. Unfortunately, we did not get it, but we're continuing to pursue opportunities around acquiring federal funding. We don't expect to get more than 50 million in additional funding for the project, but any additional funding that we can get for the Armory is significant. So we will continue to, when we have identified federal funding opportunities, we will obviously reach out to the community board for letters of recommendation. And then just in terms of next step, I know you guys are going to ask me, how many responses, what can I tell you? I cannot say. And that is because we're in a procurement process, right? I don't know who here is talking with who and who's reached out. So, we are, all I can say is that we have been very satisfied with the amount of proposals that have come in. It's a very diplomatic answer. But you know, there was a tremendous outreach done, not just for the vision plan, but for the RFP itself. We were on several real estate and commercial publications. My president Andrew Kimbo and our president's team was out having numerous. We had over 25 speaking events in which they advertised for the Kingsbridge Armory. We had articles come out on major publications, right, about the Kingsbridge Armory. So tremendous outreach that went into both the vision plan, but also promoting the RFP. So we were very happy to see that. Just to give you a general sense, so responses came in January 18th. And so we hope to make, we are in the process of reviewing those proposals, and we hope to make a selection by end of year. What happens in this year is we receive the proposals, we go back, ask questions, they send us answers, we go back and ask more questions, they send us answers, we schedule interviews with folks, we come back, there's a lot of back and forth. This is a negotiation, right? At the end of the day, we are negotiating the best deal for the city and for the community. And at some point, we will make a selection, right? And we're hoping to do that before the end of the year. So it seems long, but it's a massive project, right? And so there's a lot of things that we need to ensure because this is the third time that we're at this table. And then following that, just to give you a sense of what comes after a developer is selected, this project will obviously have to go through ULURP and environmental review, which are both required for this project. And in both ULURP and environmental review, there will be public hearings, right? So there will be moments where residents, interested parties can go to these public hearings and these workshops that will be had during the ULURP and environmental review process, which will probably be in 2025, 2026, right? Since we hope to make a selection to announce a developer by the end of the year. Just to give you a sense, there's always the question of who is the selection committee. We cannot disclose. It is BDC, our real estate team is leading that effort. But there are trustworthy people on the committee. So that is all I can say on RFP process. Any questions? Not related to RFP, but amount of responses we received. Yes.
I asked the bank people, pride flag on the armory, can you get on that, or would I call them?
Yeah, I think you guys have reached out about that before, right? But one thing I did want to add is HBO is finally out. They took forever, but they're out. So we, in the meantime, while this redevelopment is happening, we will continue to allow for short-term uses of the armory, right? To continue to activate it and create revenue for the city. So whether it's film or different kinds of uses inside the armory, as permittable. So HBO's out, but we might have another film. None has come forward, but just to give you all a sense, in the coming years, until construction is complete or until construction happens, we will continue to try to activate the space. And so we can definitely look into potential flag location. We obviously can't, put a pole in the building, so we would have to see if there's, I don't know if there's an existing flag pole.
They had a rocket ship in there one time, didn't they?
What?
Didn't they have a rocket ship in there? And they built the bombs and stuff?
Maybe. Yeah, so we can see maybe on in the somewhere, maybe on the fence or something, but yeah, we can.
They get to board a whole presentation about doing it for the veterans, and it's the armory, it's no place more veteran. But thank you so much.
Yeah, and I know we've also heard interest from folks of like maybe having along the fence. I know last year we had the art installation by Bronx. So we can talk about potentially what we can do around the fence in the meantime, right? Is there a community wall where we can put different flags, LGBT, different flags throughout the year? If that's something the community board is interested, I can follow up with as management.
As Americans, everybody fought for that, everybody built that armory. Everybody should share and show them else on it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. I'll follow up.
Yeah, when I saw the 5 colleges' names there, not only did I jump, I leaped to the conclusion that they were gonna be throwing their hat in the ring to get claim of the armory. I assume that was not the deal with the 5 colleges?
Cannot disclose. I cannot
Nobody's
disclose.
telling you folks,
All I'm saying is I cannot
there may
disclose
be a college flag
any
flying on that.
information of potential respondents.
That would be you now, okay, I'm in that neighborhood too, because in my younger days, I used to go to the armory. When they had rock, they used to have fairs. Go in there, had like a carnival and stuff back in the day. 72 or so. So, I'm looking forward to anything that they can do with that. So God bless everybody who's been working on it. So my hats off. It is.
Well, one thing I will say, right, is, just like we allow for certain films, short-term uses like filming to happen in there, it's not, a festival or something of that nature could happen. I think last year at some point someone wanted to do a rodeo. Those things are allowed. They just have to meet certain, insurance requirements, right? And a big issue that we've seen throughout the city is when we have these kind of events, how it affects the neighborhood, right? Circulation, traffic, parking. So they have to come forward with those kinds of plans, right? So they are allowed, they just have to go through a stringent process.
But my main question should have been was, I'm sorry, David is wrong. What's going to happen to all of our community vendors that are really living off of selling things on the strip of the island? Those people have been destroyed by COVID, and they have no resources but to do like neighborhood flea markets. And I would hate for them to be uprooted and kicked to the side. There should be some kind of people's plaza for them to enjoy.
Yeah.
Plaza, there you go. She wants to ship them more.
So what I will say on the street vendors, which is I'm assuming you're referring to, is during the engagement process, we met several times with the street vendors. I offered 2 tours. I had over 80 street vendors come into the Kingsbridge Armory for the first time, right? They were able to see what's on the other side of the fence. We met with them. We had the Street Vendor Project, which is a citywide organization that does a lot of work with street vendors as part of our community working group. So we've made it a very intentional part of our engagement plan to meet with the street vendors. I still walk by, I know a lot of them and a lot of their drama that they have internally within themselves. So that is reflected in the engagement plan and the Together for Kingsbridge, right? And so something that we are looking for throughout from all of the proposals is how are you responding to the Together for Kingsbridge vision plan, which includes the street vendors, right? So everyone will have different opinions, but those are some of the questions that in this process we will continue to ask, right? What is the plan? How are you accommodating these individuals, not just in potential space, but also during construction, right? Some of them might choose not to go into the armory. Maybe, I don't know, there might not be a possibility where they're allowed in the armory in terms of having space, but the idea is how are you mitigating the impact to street vendors, right? That is one of the questions that we are asking all respondents, and that is something that we have baked in the Together for Kingsbridge vision plan.
So when you make a selection, you will present one proposal through the union process.
Correct.
Okay.
When a developer is selected, there will be the winner.
Okay.
Yes. I cannot disclose. What I will say is that we were very happy to see, which is why we did the process the way that we did, right? The Together for Kingsbridge vision plan. It was appended to the RFP, and so the respondents had to respond to the vision plan, right? So whatever's in the vision plan has hopefully made its way into the responses. I think that's as much as I can say. But yes, that's all I can say.
Since it's a huge structure, is there a possibility that more than one developer would go through the ULURP process?
Well, in the development world, you know, there can be, let's say, a coalition of developers who came together, but ultimately, whoever is selected, it could be a team or it could be one person, right? It depends on the proposal. So there could be a proposal by just one developer who submitted, or there could be a proposal that is made up of several developers, right? So it can vary.
If you have
That's,
different floors, then, it's ideal for more than one developer.
yeah, but usually, you know, it wouldn't be like individual developers, they would have all came together and formed a.
Yeah, or
Yeah, so it is a possibility that you could have several developers in a project. Any other questions? Awesome, that's all I
Thank
can
you.
share. Thank you.
Okay, moving on with the agenda, the Department of Buildings. And, Commission of Human Rights. No mention there. And then announcements, I think we have gone through several announcements already about the affordability, right, the preference to the community board, the workshops. And then we also received another document about the brownfield cleanup program at 340 West Corner. Cleanup program, the brownfield cleanup program at 340 West Corner. And I think that's all about the announcements. The next meeting day will be April 9, 2024. And the discussion on the next agenda, we talked about the AMI discussion, and we were gonna have talk about the RFP responses, but we already did that, so we'll find some other topics. Yeah, we'll probably, because we're hearing about the city of this. Yes. Any questions or comments?
Yes, being that I'm part of the Northwest Bronx Merchant Association, I'm with the property located and sent many emails about it. And 203rd Street and Webster Avenue was hoping the DOB was here. They put up scaffolding and they're not maintaining it with a green pure wall. There's supposed to be no posting, it's not even secure properly. It swings with the wind and it's dangerous, and they came out and respected it and said it's A-okay. I don't think so. I'm out there every day passing the by. It is totally scarred with vandalized. And I have no, and the papers hanging on it, they have all blank names of who got the, permits. So I'm at a loss
What
here.
I do in this case is who owns the scaffolding. You ever call them? That's where I get my results.
Say that again a little bit.
Okay, so it'll say,
No, that's
ABC scaffold. That's what I do, because I have that on mine, and I call them up and I said, look.
No, there's
we've got
no,
garbage
it's
removal.
all the identifications.
Just a little, like a little metal sign on it.
They use reusable crappy stuff.
But this is the, 203rd and Webster, that's the building.
That's that huge gasoline station.
Little Sam's Carpet.
No, they're okay. Well, they got graffiti too, but this one is worse.
Where is
This is a gasoline station.
just north of Sam's?
No, it's right there, dead, 203rd.
Which side? That's
Yeah, the other side is 203rd where the DEP is. This side is not immense, dead end. It's all Webster. And it just goes. And it is really, it creates a major problem for me to maintain the graffiti removal. My business strip, the kids see that and they tag alongside the business strips. So we really, even before COVID, we've been complaining about that location. I don't know if
Whoever
this,
took out the permit to put up the sample things, that would be the name of the company, but if they jump, they move. When I tell them to do something, they move because they don't want.
can you then call them up and tell them, see if you?
No,
Because I don't
because
see any names
No,
there.
because I'm calling where the sign is on the wood, the shed, that's where I'm.
I have not observed any
If
sign.
not, we can also. Go 311.
We'll follow up, yes.
Or no.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta know
Mhm.
that, hit that scam.
Is the developer there?
No sign,
no sign.
keep going over that same,
It's just a green flag.
what part of there's no signs, don't you
Oh.
understand?
Okay, now that's not nice.
I know, but that's what happens with when I have panic attacks, you wonder why. I keep saying it, but I don't know, it doesn't hit the point. If I saw a sign, you don't think it's me who called personally?
But Carla, if you could go to DOB, it says.
I go to their office.
It says to by location, so we'll look it up,
Yes.
see what permits they have.
Has, well, because people have to file to put up a shed, so somebody filed.
Mhm.
Everything was nice. Went to the DOB office on the Raven late at night, said it open 7:30. The guy said you gotta, you can't just come in there and complain about it. You gotta go to the room.
Okay, then
Mhm.
that's.
I did go to them, and luckily I wasn't my Italian, roots, so I just walked down.
Okay, we'll try
Okay,
that.
So-
thank you. Yeah, we'll follow up.
Talk about it. And she-
I'll send everything. and I
Yes.
appreciate you kind of have to do this.
How about that
Thank
other
you.
location? You said that cars parked on the sidewalk, did that?
That's
include?
the,
By the hotel.
that's the United States Marines, so they have jurisdiction.
Okay, oh, I didn't know that. Someone raised it.
I found out the hard way when the MPs came up. to us.
Oh.
Thank God I was somebody.
No, is that within the Baker?
A little loud in my throat.
Is that within the Baker corridor?
No.
The Bainbridge, no.
It's outside.
Mhm.
Technically it is. It's on the Webster part of that.
On the Webster Street. Can you email that? So I can take a look at it?
It is during your car. Well, yeah, definitely. It's on that side.
Well, what's Fernando's last name from ETC?
Ortiz.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to
There you
adjourn.
go.
Second.
There you go.